Hi there, and welcome to Property Market Moves. I am your host, Kululwa Motwa, and today I am flying with Miss Ayanda Makaza.
Thank you, Kulula. I am Ayanda Makaza, a development manager by profession. I am also vice president at SAIBPP, and I chair the Women's Forum.
Yeah. Welcome, VP.
Thank you.
Okay, and on the hot seat this morning we have Miss Nyameka Madikizela. She is the Group CEO of Indlela Connect. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We know how much it takes for someone in your position, to take time out. So we truly appreciate it. Okay, before we jump into it, who is Nyameka?
So Nyameka Madikizela, family is from Bizana, Impondokazi. It counts because this is how we were brought up in our family.
Okay, so I just want to remember, Amakosa in the room, no plan, but it just happens.
It's funny because as she's saying, Madikizela from Epizana, I'm already thinking there's so many people I know from Epizana who really also Amabondagasi. So lovely to have you.
And I guess it counts because this is how we're brought up. We brought up, I think, as women equally as men, so there's no distinction in terms of gender. Our approach, our expectations in life, also the same.
Yeah.
And then you find that when you actually get out there, life treats you differently. So yeah, it's been a lot of work just to work with that and realize that you have a different fight as a woman.
Sure.
And yeah, so this is who I am. And I guess with all the changes, transformation, agendas that one has driven, one is at the stage where I want to make a difference to other women as well. I think before it was about transformation in general. Now it's just understanding that there's a different silent fight for women. It's not out there. It's underlying. It's not where we were fighting as Black people. You're actually just competing with other males in general.
Okay.
That's and I mean, so I was asked a question in an interview recently when you're speaking about this silent fight for women, and they said, if there was one barrier that you could remove, for women, what would that be? Like one barrier. And because when you're saying silent fight, it probably articulates, something that I could not articulate in that manner, in that conversation, because it is.
It's there but not seen in a sense.
How would you answer that question?
I think times have changed. In my younger days, I think when we were in the boardroom and you would be the only woman in the room, the fight was you would say something and it wouldn't be heard or you would be ignored.
Yeah.
And your colleague right next to you says something exactly the same thing, and it would be
and everyone hears it
like,
and applauds.
That's a brilliant idea.
Good idea, John.
and back then I formed alliances with some of my male colleagues because it didn't really matter whether the idea comes from me, as long as the idea is there.
Sure.
If I say something and it's ignored, I write it down. He says it. Oh, great.
Yeah.
But because we worked as a team, and I was fortunate to actually have colleagues that worked with me as a team. And if I needed to be recognized, I would be recognized by them and then eventually my superiors.
Sure.
Today's fight, I think, for women is different in that they we've been celebrating women over the years.
Yeah.
Young women are still expected, because the dynamics have changed. Young women are now in control. They have their career. They're having their children late. They get paid better sometimes.
Sure.
And they're running the household. So they have this dual role, where you're at home and you're supposed to be the wife. And there's some resentment you find not only from the husband, but from the family about the dominant role. Because you can't be schizophrenic. You can't be dominant at work. And then you get home and you take...
Switch off from the sense.
I love that you call that schizophrenia.
No, you can't. You are what you are. So if you're dominant at work and the work environment forces you to be a director and to dictate, you get home, you sit, and then eventually you're going to say, no, stop, do it this way, and you direct.
Yeah.
But also because the boys, our boys, have mothers who have been now, with me. I mean, my son is 31. So our younger boys would be used to having mothers who take the backseat.
Sure.
Now they're married to these dominant women who take the front seat. They marry them because they actually like that about them, but they cannot handle that.
What it means
To actually, because they have no framework. There is no environment that has made them used to actually working with you. So the dynamics now change. Our boy children is more what I'm sensitive towards now, because they are ignored. This is something that we have to deal with. We're not giving attention to the boy child, teenager, who now feels that everything is about the girl. Bring a girl to work. This thing about the girls, this about the work. Things are changing, and we need to find a balance as well as mothers in our society, to make sure that those men are not ignored, because they become violent. So we wonder about the gender abuse because they've been in this environment. So I think for me, that's just those are the contradictions that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And also just understand how times have changed, where we are, and how do I
child along.
Exactly. How do I come in? How do I support my girl child, my boy child?
Okay. And I think for me, you also touch on something which is of importance, and you highlight that support that you get from male counterparts, or just generally the surrounding support you need in instances of leadership. And I wanted to invite you to speak a little bit more about that, your experiences with sponsors or mentors, people who've given you the support and helped you just identify the platforming for yourself.
So, I started by saying we didn't have gender at home growing up. So when I started work, I didn't really expect to be treated differently. So it was a kind of I suppose a surprise for me, shock rather. And also growing up in the Transkei, we didn't have racism as well.
Yeah.
So I come and I work, I'm in Joburg, and I'm dealing with racism, gender issues, the likes, and just having to adjust. So I guess the impact for me was working at the Ports Authority. I was the executive manager for property. We had just joined as Portnet. There was divisionalization that was happening. This was a time when some of the colleagues were actually your cadres who just from exile, and some of them different dynamics. But really what was interesting is that it was an intellectual environment. It was an intellectual time. So you brought whatever it is that you were bringing in terms of the impact. We saw ourselves playing a political game where we're transforming everything that we needed to change. We had to put an act together. There was a policy. We were learning as we were going along in terms of what it is to actually be part of a state-owned company.
Sure.
So there was a lot of support. There was teamwork. These were my friends. These were my brothers, and so it was great that way. We also had, I mean, I had within Transnet a lot of support from my bosses, who really, made me feel confident that, say something and to speak up, because I speak softly.
You start off speaking softly.
Speak up. We can't hear what is. And I mean, part of what I learned, even just the speaking with this deep voice.
Yeah.
The deep voice was learned, by the way, because if you are angry and you go, you're sounding like a woman.
To a vacuum.
I remember having this guy saying, he was helping me with training. Do you realize that you are fighting these guys? You are representing their wives at home. So,
Jeez.
I mean, an interesting analogy, right?
yeah. So you can't be screaming at them. Sorry. That was that. So I then learned to speak softly but deeply, to be heard. Not to be careful about how I lost my calm.
Sure.
And at times, because you're frustrated, things are not happening. You end up going into that. I talk about the schizophrenia. This is how. So now you have to have this learned behavior.
Okay.
But I had very good bosses who really made me feel supported and confident, because we often don't realize what we have, what we carry, or how we've been nurtured at home.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I left Transnet is when I actually started feeling the differences more in terms of the gender.
Sure.
Until then, Women's
Still
Day,
felt like home.
Women's Day was like, yeah, it's a holiday. But now I actually realize the impact where when you're making a pitch,
Yeah.
someone will actually be making advances at you. You get predators. I had not experienced predators at Transnet. I had not experienced being cut out of a deal because I wasn't going to agree to, selling Najgodi out, within the deal itself.
Yeah.
I found myself in employment where you can see that there's the subtle advances that you need to respond to, and you ignore it, and you know what it means, and you jumped at, and no one actually is supporting you. So the support that I was familiar with I thought it was enough to just bring what I can, my ideas, my innovation, strategy was different. So it was interesting to actually, I was a little older, I guess, but I was equally shocked because I didn't expect it.
That type.
And we talk about political, navigating the political environment in corporate. Then you're speaking about a different dynamic where, as a woman, you are coming there, you're making a pitch, you are skilled, the pitch itself stands on its own, but now you have to fend off, unwanted advances from the men in the room. And it goes back, I guess, to that patriarchy that is still embedded in our society. Because there's some form of entitlement, that men seem to believe that they have over women. And now you have to work hard to deliver a good pitch, but then you also, are expected to give something extra.
And I think for me, it raises really the question of, having navigated and gone through those experiences, what kind of advice do you then share to someone who's still to traverse those, experiences? So I sort of see that as a question. And also, what does the future for women in our space look like? If we think a decade from now, should we still be walking into rooms that are mainly male, where that's, the expectation or the reception?
Or even the posture, that you're walking into this room that, yes, is mainly male dominated, or some women in the room, but the how do you carry yourself, so that you fit in the room, but you manage all these other dynamics.
We talk about the patriarchy, and I talk about how over time our partners, husbands, our sons have been in an environment where they used to dominate, right? Where will that take us? How will the future look? And I think it will change. If you look at countries like Germany, where you have a lot of working women, but there's a lot of sympathy towards the working woman now. Countries like Germany started having women working from home. COVID changed things for us because as working mothers now, we can go and watch our sons.
Sure.
We can pick them up from school. In my time, I had to I dropped my son at school. His father picked him up. That was just the balance. I would be home around 8. I wouldn't actually be part of his life. And that was the sacrifice that I had to make at the time. So we have a bit of that balance. And I think because the world has got more women than men, it will get to a point where it doesn't really count. It shouldn't count. But we are in transition, especially I would say as African, and for me, African males, black or white, it's still very patriarchal to some extent. I think in that transition, I would say our girls, you need to fight, you need to stand firm, and you need to know what it is that you hold true to yourself, about yourself, how you want to be perceived. I can't dictate how you respond to that. I think for me, the only thing I'll say is what holds true to you. When you walk away from that and how you respond, will you still feel that you have lost something about yourself
in the deal
or not? And I think because in contrast, I had to settle with the fact that there are women who actually, even though they go to varsity, they don't want to work. They actually want to be mothers and housemakers.
Makers.
I didn't think that was possible. For me, it was just ambition. And even my daughter, I said, I don't have a child without ambition. For me, it's not an option. I don't have children without ambition. So I had to understand that people at times in life will react differently.
Sure.
As long as they feel okay with their choices that they make, that's fine. As long as you're true to yourself and however you react, and it takes nothing away from you. As my child, that is all that I would advise you to do. As a daughter out there, that is all. Because other women are very happy to be taken care of.
Yeah.
I don't want to be taken care of. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's my choice.
No, absolutely.
If we go back 30 years, when SAIBPP was established and you were, back then, one of the female leaders, president of SAIBPP, what was it about, what was it in you that brought that out, that you would want to be a part of that? And I think especially now that you're giving us, this background that you grew up in a home where there was no gender.
It was gender agnostic.
There was no racism that you were exposed to. And then you got into a work environment that was equally accommodative, and almost felt like family, which mirrored, the way that you grew up at home. But then the journey of SAIBPP, how did that come about?
SAIBPP for me was, it was a natural move. even though growing up in the Transkei, I mean, my family was very political. I just remember my dad used to take some of the young boys into exile. So,
Okay.
we had people coming into our house at the back of our house. We didn't know half the time who was coming in or not. So
okay.
It was quite expected. And I think with the underground exposure to the ANC, heard and unheard, sometimes you sit in a room, there's a lot of conversations
Sure.
that you party to, how our father would have, read the newspapers, but don't take them seriously. There's a lot of propaganda.
Yeah.
What is propaganda?
Okay.
Propaganda.
So you're conscious very early
only
on.
listen to Capital Radio at Port St. John's. Capital Radio was the only radio station that would share what was really going on. So this is now in the 80s, growing up like that. So really, it was only natural to be part of the political change that was going on. There was a lot of pride for me in just making some change.
Yeah.
And I decided that my political involvement would be in business, but not in politics.
Sure.
Because I always said that politics is an unthankful movement. It doesn't matter where you are. It's interesting how you see the changes. I was listening to the news this morning. Judge for take it out. I'm thinking, shame. What a self-respecting man. Now he's out.
Yeah.
It is, and it's not just the MK. It's in the ANC. It's in the EFF. The political movement is a very unthankful movement. So I decided that any play for me politically would be in business.
Sure.
So I quite enjoyed that that opportunity
to be in
bring
SAIBPP.
change.
Yeah. And does any story come to mind? I mean, of those days, how SAIBPP as a kind of sprouting organization comes to be, and now in the leadership of a woman. Are there any kind of stories you would want to share about that period?
I used to report to Andy Tonde. He's the one who actually brought me into SAIBPP. Andy being Sagittarian is very much what I would call square to him. Has to be this way and that way. I kind of like to always test the boundaries.
Get out of the square.
Move them a bit. Make it triangular. So it was interesting to actually work within that environment. Yes, there were a lot of discussions about what it is that we needed to do, when we would sit and have discussions about what it is that needs to be done. Most of the people in the country were actually looking at transformation. This is now post 1994.
Yeah.
Just struggling with some of the limitations you have when you deal with white people, the anger that was there. I mean, I remember one organization that I worked for. I worked for them, and they thought that I was quiet, and they wanted me there because they thought this one is not going to push.
Docile, kind of, yeah.
I was the only Black person. They were testing this out, and so 3 months into the job, we were fighting, and it wasn't like no escalated voices or anything, but just I'm not doing this. Sorry, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not used to that. Eventually, when I resigned, for me that was okay. This is what it means to actually work within an environment where you need to make change. So when we sat and we were sharing our experiences.
Yeah.
I worked for here, and I worked for this company. And these were all big companies, and we all felt like
your experiences are the same,
similar. But because the whole country was fighting, it was easy to say, "This is what is happening at my company. I need to report this to so and so. That is, within the ANC. I need to report this to so and so.
Yeah."
Can we make changes within public works? So we have Black leadership there. We need to put certain policies in place to allow for the redistribution of wealth. Redistribution of wealth, in the
perfect.
And yesterday I was having a conversation with someone who's like, "Hey, listen, I just want to make money now."
Yeah. So that conversation has evolved now.
Yeah, when I have enough, we can talk about Maslow's hierarchy. Right now, it's just about survival. So, yeah, that is what was great. I missed those conversations, the legacy conversation, just looking beyond myself.
Sure.
Right. And for me, I think again, when I am thinking about the future and just bringing back that consciousness that you speak of when you say we still realized there was something to fight for and push back against, outside of the rhetoric and conversation of liberated, institutions. And I wonder what it is that we can still draw from, to keep alive within the young person or the current practitioner.
What's just come to mind for me as women is how we need to support each other. We don't do that.
Okay.
Today, I don't know but I used to work with women where we supported each other. Yeah. But I find that we compete now as women. I think that's sad. As a leader in the organization where I am, I really look to support younger women who are just coming in, to mentor them and to coach them. Sometimes say, "Hey, come, let's chat. You need to soften a bit. I know you've been fighting, but soften the approach a bit. You don't have, we need to do that.
Yeah.
We need to hunt in pairs as women, because men are very good at doing that.
Yeah.
We need to support each other, and you need to sometimes say, "Okay, you make money, but I won't make money, but I'll make sure that I open the doors for you so that you're okay, and you'll take care of me when I need to do the same."
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
We need to do that.
Okay.
So it's just something that I think we would do better if we actually did
We're
not
deliberate
compete.
about it.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, it reminds me of this company that I work for, and I say, "Yeah, but you don't behave like the other blacks."
You're not like them.
And I would be so upset. I would say, "I need to change something. It's not possible that you're going to tell me that I behave differently. I don't like that. That is not a compliment. If you say I don't behave like the other blacks, I don't take that as a compliment."
Yeah.
So in a way, if we are able to find each other and we're not trying to behave and outsmart each other or I think we would actually do better.
Sure.
I think we would get far.
Well captured.
Yeah.
If you look back on your presidency, I don't know how many years ago that was.
2006, you said.
Yeah.
Geez. So that's 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is there
2 decades?
That's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Is there any legacy or something that, unfinished business from that time that you still believe is relevant and important today to the incoming president?
Yeah. Thank you.
Look, I think I would say that you guys are doing well. What Kabe has started in terms of bringing the presidents together and having that conversation. There's, I think, for me, there's a bit of nostalgia in terms of, what we were busy with at the time.
Yeah.
There was Moli, Kaugelo, and, Nguli, where we actually, all we did was to recruit, each other as women to have a voice.
Yeah.
And the likes of Uprasol and they also wanted to have women to represent. So there was a fight from the guys as well to see that we come in, I think, as female presidents. One of the things that, during my tenure, there was the strategy. For me, we needed to move beyond just being practitioners. We needed to develop a strategy, but we also needed to put it in words. We needed to, to say these are the objectives. It's nice to see that most of those objectives, you guys are still pursuing them. What's sad is that we haven't really moved a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And the environment has changed. I think you and I were chatting about how today it's no longer B. You don't come into the room and you're selling B. You come into the room to bring in your skill set. You bring in. It's challenging. Yeah. Look, we've had years, and so the legislation has changed, and partnering now needs to be something where I don't see you people and you people don't see each other, but we need to find each other because we know we're good. And I think from the time that we had this conversation, we're looking at strategy. And by the way, the brand, that was during my time.
Okay.
Yeah.
The what?
The brand, the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always look at that.
Yes,
That's legacy for you. We haven't moved a lot. There's got to be pride in what I bring in.
Yeah.
The conversation now in the boardroom is for males and females to know that they're different.
Sure.
I have a different perspective. I'm going to be more empathic. I'm going to be listening more. And I will say, there's something that is unsaid. You've said this, but there's also something that you need to bring out that brings in the emotive part into what you want to do.
Sure.
And the emotive part doesn't make you weaker. It makes you interested, especially because you're working with people. So I think we have a lot of work that we still need to do to as SAIBPP, that we give pride in the skill set that we bring in, because the environment has now changed. It's not, I don't open doors. Now I bring my unique competitive edge in terms of, as a Black woman, as a softer listening Black woman with skills and experience. And I think SAIBPP we need to find something that doesn't distinguish us, but that is attractive for us to partner as we move as one South Africa.
Okay. All right. I like how you've articulated that proposition and offering. And, I think as you were talking to how it now calls for a bit more of what are you offering, I wondered, in your own experience or in your own growth, what are those traits that you believe have become key to you being successful as a woman leader in this space?
Two things actually that seem to work for me. One, I'm always reinventing myself.
Okay.
I've realized I'm in my 50s now, so
gracefully.
So and it was interesting. I mean, I was in my late 20s. I was in what would have been coined senior position. And then I used to call it the inflexible 50. So, at 50, you already know, formed, you are very clear.
You are who you are.
So the inflexible 50 was unattractive for the young person that wanted to put change in place, transform. And I was like, oh God, I'm working with this inflexible man. And now, in my inflexible age, I find that I have to reinvent myself.
Okay.
But I've always been innovative. So I'm always sitting and thinking, how can I do that differently? How can I, work towards the change or the hurdle that's there? So
that innovation and flexibility.
Listening to the customer. I mean, I'm one of the things that are important for me is, with customers is service, price.
Yeah.
Service and price. If I can reduce price and give an offering which is less in cost. So I'm always finding ways, how can I reduce the price? I don't have to be making a whole lot of money immediately, but I can keep the customer. And that's part of reinventing myself. So moving from the inflexible age, allowing myself a little bit of that flexibility that younger people always say, you listen to these old people. Oh, God. They're so set in their ways.
Okay. No, very interesting.
So you've spoken about someone who said, I'm now focusing on myself, right? I need to make my own money, focusing on survival. When we think about our intentionality, in terms of doing things, and transformation is one of them, that to a larger extent don't benefit me, but they benefit the whole, right? Do you think we still have that embedded within us?
Yeah, well, I certainly do. I think this is how I was brought up. My environment, I mean, my grandfather, my dad, they always contributed towards someone else's education. Yeah. Because education was important at the time. It still is for most of us. Helping someone to get better. And really the distinction though is if you're helping someone, I have to think, if I help you, I'm always gonna come back for more. Or if I help you, can I give you a fishing rod to go and fish yourself. And that's how I decide whether I'm gonna help you or I'm not gonna help you.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't live in an island. I think it's important. I always think, let's start small. My friends, can we build something with my friends?
Sure.
Okay.
Can I build something with, other people that I'm now familiar with? At our age, we have a long history of friendships in service, in business.
Yeah.
What can I do? I don't help. There is this new thing that I always find a little offensive. If you come to me for help, and all I have to do is introduce you to someone,
Okay.
I'm not expecting that I get some facilitation fee
from the introduction.
Yeah,
I hate that. That is, and so I have to ask people, what is your value? So I need to, I'll bring you in, but what are you going to do?
Sure.
So most people know me to be strict, to say, okay, you help me, but what am I paying for? This is unfair. If I'm doing all the work and all you do is just because you've introduced me to someone, you believe that you're entitled to make some money. So yes, I do think that we need to constantly help each other. We need to grow as a community, the small community, the bigger community. I don't think it's something that I can always feel like I abandon.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's
So to the young woman who is thinking about, a journey, I guess, in any field, but maybe let's bring it back to the property environment where you you grew up in. But I mean, I know you're not just in property anymore, but it's still a part of your career. If you were sitting with her and mentoring her, what would you tell her to be? How should she show up?
What is that roadmap?
Yeah, how should she show up? What should she be doing, within herself, because listening to your responses, I think there's a lot of the internal, work, right? As you navigate this environment, you spoke about, these are some of the challenges that you will be met up with, but it has to be about what is important to you and that it does not take away from, you don't lose yourself like in the deal. So how should she be preparing herself for this journey? And especially if she aspires to be in leadership positions, how does she make herself visible and seen and attractive for leadership roles?
So what always comes to mind, girls, boys, my children, I always say life is difficult. He's got back. Life is difficult. So if you know that life is difficult, we stop complaining about the fact that it's difficult. We face up to the fact that life is always going to be difficult. Sure. And it's going to be more difficult for you as a woman. Because there's a few things that you need to kind of like deal with. I don't know what those are. I would want to prepare you that you're, in terms of who you are, your inner self, you have the confidence. So, there's this game, I don't know, and I don't know, I have this vision. So, there's this game where when you're going to play with the children, there's always something that pops up and you have to heat it. I don't know what it's called. You have to heat it with something and then it pops up somewhere else. You have to be popping out all the
time. Like ping pong, something like
Someone's
that.
Someone's going to be hitting your head.
Shutting you down,
and
you have to be flexible.
You always have to be popping out. You have to be irritating. And that person, that die hard and die harder. You're willing to face up to the fact that
sure,
you don't give up. You're that irritating person.
That's a story of resilience.
Sure. So don't be shocked that life is difficult.
Life is always going to be difficult.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
So figure it out. Figure out how you're going to engage with life in its difficulty.
Stop me there. Where
else can I emerge? Bring my hand up again.
I love that though.
Like how you shared that. Yeah, I mean, I think to me, in this conversation, you really bring out one, the importance of community, and also then just the work of creating confidence in yourself and presenting yourself and the skill in a way that people can quickly identify that this is what you bring and offer, and you're confident in that's what you bring and offer. So I suppose my question is, as women, though, you do also mention that we need to collaborate better. That's probably our strength. But what do we do? What do we improve? And where have you seen stories of success where, women are doing it well and they're collaborating in the way that brings out success?
So I went to a girls' school. First off. Okay, so I went to Nanda Seminary. And I always say, for me, Nanda, it's a Durban school. Everyone thought it was Catholic. It's, I think, in 1984, it was 150 years. So,
sure.
Yeah, it was that old. It was the first girls' school that was actually set up for girls to marry, intelligent girls to be married to Adams College boys.
Those
how it
kind of
started.
matches.
Arranged.
Sounds like a finishing school type thing. But what was always good about being in a girls' school is that we were one. We were built to be confident. We were built to direct, to be in charge, and a lot of those women. There's a lot of women leaders who actually are Inanda girls. Your Gloria Sirobe went to Inanda. I think 2 ministers that went. I don't want to give names if I'm not cited. Just now I can do names. But that collaboration, you see, Gloria has WEEP, and it's a group of women who actually said
That's actually a beautiful story.
but I'm not saying it's only Inanda girls. There's Nozala, Mrs. Shongwane. What's his Nozala's? There's Nozala. There's a lot of women groups that were formed back then that actually still continue to work well. Some stories obviously are not successful, but there is. I think for me, more conversations need to happen. Personally, I probably need to make a lot of the women's event. Remember, I told you I was secure. I didn't have to fight as a woman.
Sure.
Until I was on my own, and I needed to collaborate and get protection from other women leaders. I need to go out there and actually find women where I have chemistry and we see things the same way.
Sure.
So I don't do that enough. I think in our endeavor, we can't just talk, we need action too. So it's something that I need to work on to bring that across and to show that it actually works too.
In leadership, I guess much like all of life, there's a tension between maintaining your authenticity, and the responsibility that comes with the role that you occupy. And the other side, which requires certain things, right? Whether it is favors, right? Let's just
name the
say
favors.
broadly favors. I mean, we corruption, we know corruption is rife, in South Africa, and then there will also be interests that other people will have over the work that you do, over the work that you given responsibility for. How would you balance that? Being true to yourself as a person, as a leader, being true to the responsibility that you carry in that role, and contending with then the expectations of other people over what you're doing in terms of make sure this and that happens. How would you balance that?
As you get senior in positions, you actually realize that it's not just about you, not about the skill. So there was a time when I actually didn't understand that. In my naivety, I thought all I needed to be was good at my job. So I guess much like the political game, if I have to have a favor bank where I deposit and withdraw, it needs to be aligned to my value system.
I love how you frame that.
If it's not aligned to my value system, because favors we have to do, we also have to seek out protection, and that protection comes through favors.
Sure.
Okay. But I need to know that if I'm taking your protection and you are going to support me, in whatever endeavor, or whatever job, or whatever it is that I'm pursuing and vision, I need to know that your values are aligned with mine. Because I say everything I think. So sometimes when I even think, say nothing.
What you find yourself, it jumped out of you now. You say,
oh, damn it. Did I have to say? Some things you have to keep to yourself. So I can never hide from that value system. I've realized that, at times I have to maybe listen first and think, where are you? And then decide whether I actually want to be part of that support or not.
Okay.
So when you think government, I mean, we've spoken about the change, government, industry, private sector, what should we be doing differently in this era, of democracy of South Africa?
And
so
GNU.
that as we move, into the future, I guess differently to what we felt we needed to do or be in the past.
Yeah, this is a political question.
Framed in a conference.
I think someone advised me, never express your politics or your religion.
Yeah.
But we are in that era. My daughter is 18, so she says, Mom, who must I vote for?
Oh.
Okay, so first off, you're not a red payer, so I don't know if you should be voting at all, but vote nevertheless. Look, I think GNU has come at the right time. I don't know if the responsibilities that actually come with the GNU we can carry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting to see Helen Zille wearing Pirates t-shirts.
Right?
Okay. That's a good move. GNU, I think, is good. I think my daughter said there's 609 parties. Like, oh, that's a lot.
Jeez.
But that will give us a good balance. We're able to get the right leadership. It'll be interesting to see. I think the local elections, for example, are going to show us a change that we don't expect to see. Coming from the time when everything was very black and white, with the ANC having more than 67% votes, now down to where it is. Leadership and government should be about service. And the reason why GNU is good is that we've moved away from service.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll see how that works out. I think I don't know if the political parties, the bigger ones, realize this, but they really have to work hard. And I think local municipalities are still at the point where councillors are still looking at themselves more than actually service.
Sure.
But the next local elections, I think you'll see more service.
Okay.
For survival, they're going to have to show up through service than anything else. So this is good. What we need to appreciate in South Africa, and I think in the SADC space, we're one of the democratically safe countries. You can actually have a divergent view and it's okay.
And express it.
And you wake up alive.
Yeah.
So we have to appreciate that, that we've allowed for the democracy. Even sometimes you think that's a bit too leftist or right, in their approach. But everyone is allowed to actually express themselves and stand and argue for it. So we have that. And I think, let's see where this goes. I'm actually quite excited about it. Especially because the youth are registering more.
Sure.
It'll be interesting to see how our government changes in one way or the other.
Yes.
Because, Black people are not going to stay in power because they're Black and there's more Black people in the country. They're going to stay in power because they provide service, and whatever it is that they want to put in place, they need to account. And I think Thabo Mbeki said that. His fear is that service is going to be the I guess, the collapse and the fall of the ANC. We're starting to see that because we never really focused on it. We didn't make it. And I'm saying we, as an ANC a supporter, we didn't make it important.
So focused on the
Let's see what happens now.
Diversity of
our young people are going to determine what comes next.
Sure. Okay. Wow, Women's Month. Is it still important, VP?
Well, I think absolutely. And I mean, Nyameka, you also touch on the fact that as transformation takes a new definition and a new meaning, you start to realize the layers that the issue is not just about a Black population, but also being women and then being Black and woman. What is that translation for that demographic? So I think even if we take 1 month in the 12 months to just, sit and settle on that conversation, there's relevance if we do it every year. And we seek progression every year. I like what you said, that, women can do things differently and get successful outcomes, but it starts to the fact that we've got to activate those conversations and then action those outcomes. So, I would certainly say there's great relevance in Women's Month. But beyond my view, I'd be happy to hear how you see relevance in the month.
We have to celebrate the journey of women. 1956, for me, I love watching these movies. Of transformation for women worldwide. And it comes from, women under slavery, women who are free, women who couldn't open a bank account,
couldn't own land.
Their money that was left was given to the husband. So we have to celebrate that we've actually journeyed as women. If we don't do that, we will not know, our children will not know where we come from. And also because there's a silent transformation that is still happening worldwide, that has not really given us the true freedom in our smaller spaces. As an African Black woman, and one of the things that I remember, because our family has never distinguished between boys and girls and their education, we were all equal. I saw, my dad used to say to me, often his father would send him to go and get his sister back because the sister is just being physically abused by the husband. And that's because you have a very strong woman. So, I always say to my sisters, you are a strong woman. And that strength will intimidate a man because you will say it with such confidence. And they feel they actually need to teach you. They need to be your father and they need to beat you up.
Put you in your place.
Put you in your place. So there is a lot of that we're still dealing with. I have, I'm a faith buddy in my church, and I have this woman that I talk to. And the balance is, I'm a married woman and I'm struggling. I want to make something of my life and I want to be a wife too. And I have a child that I need to bring up we always feel this more for our girl children.
Yeah.
I need to be a good example to my daughter.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that this abuse doesn't continue so that my son does not pick up this behavior. How do I do that? And finding the balance, for me, Women's Month needs to come down to, yes, we come from, where things were that extreme. But there is a lot of journeying, a lot of things that happen within households that are difficult for women. And when you actually advise, you can't say, get out of that, because they want to stay. They want to find the balance between being a balanced mother, being at work, being married, and all of that. So those are just the nuances that we have to be aware of, and maybe have more conversations with those women who feel that their circumstances are very difficult to work within. And I know a lot of men always say, but what about us?
Yeah.
For men, Women's Month should be, what should we do differently? I love this.
Absolutely.
I love these men groups that they have. And the progressive ones, where they talk about forget being a Jonase and, a polygamous.
You didn't just
we have to keep it relevant, right?
Yeah.
But forget being, I know a group of men who actually, their friendship is about teaching each other about being a true husband or true partner. And what conversation do we need to have with each other to encourage this progressive male husband, brother, friend? That's what Women's Month should be about.
Yeah, actually.
For
Also,
men.
the space for men.
For men as well, to just express what do we need to do differently. What was it? I was thinking about this, listening onto the radio. What's the king in KwaZulu Natal who had just abused Mrs. Zulu had just abused his wife.
Yeah.
And then
The video.
Ufikile Balula says, we appreciate, I think he apologized. We appreciate, he's a big man for apologizing. And I think one of the radio, it's still called DJs, was saying, but he's not talking about, wow, that's wrong. The abuse is wrong. He's saying, good for being a bigger man. But that is also just undermining and saying, this is wrong. Good of you to apologize. I think my dad used to say, apology is not enough. Change of behavior
is what's required, actually.
So if you say, I'm sorry, you'd say, okay, granted. What are you going to do differently?
Yeah.
And then he would keep you honest. You say, when we spoke, you said you were going to do this differently. And I think for me, those are the conversations that need to be had.
Yeah.
Where if there's something violent about you that you need to deal with as a man, as a woman, because violence and this whole GBV thing is not just with victims are not just women, males are also victims. What is it that needs to change? So those males need to have those conversations. Talk about them. Let's have Women's Month where we're actually focusing on women, but not just women talking to women, but men also in terms of
pouring into that conversation.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, we've got a question from the guest we hosted the last time. I was just about to close without asking this question. Okay, this is so cliche. If you were a president, maybe let's say for fun, like Minister of DPWI or Human Settlements for a month, what one thing would you introduce? at DPWI, a human settlements, or as president, if you want to align with the original question.
Accountability.
Okay.
Responsibility and accountability. What am I responsible for? I need to know.
Yeah.
Accountable. What am I accountable for? I think the whole Mazanga thing has shown us things. We're seeing things where I think there's just abuse of power, corruption, there's
decay in governance.
Decay, criminal elements within government. What am I responsible for? What is my job? And that talks to structure, that talks to vision and strategy. And what am I accountable for? That's what I would want. I mean, I think it's not just any form of leadership should be looking at that.
Sure. It sounds so basic, right?
Yeah.
As people will say, what is this thing about, common sense?
Yeah,
but
it's foundational.
It sounds so basic, but important, especially where we are, because we don't see a lot of it, or at least we see a lot of things that are happening against what should
expected.
be.
Yeah. They're insensible.
And it comes down to the very little. If I'm here to sweep and make sure the room looks clean, that's my responsibility. And every day I have to make that. If I'm servicing people at SASA or at Home Affairs, I have to show up. We are so used to
take all.
It's lunchtime. We all know we're gonna wait until lunch is over. Okay. And yet there are people who really need, the service. We all hear about that. So if my job is to sweep and make sure that it's clean, and that's my responsibility. That's all I must focus, and I must do it well. If my responsibility is to do this and help people and service people, that's what I need to do. As a minister, as a president, I must hold everyone accountable. For whatever their outcome. But if I don't know what these people are supposed to be doing, I often wonder, some of these ministers that are elected and they have position, do you go back and think? Because I always, when I got a new job, I would say, oh, what do I want to do differently with this? And I'll be getting excited and my mind is working. But I want to do this within this time. This is what I'm going to do. Do they think about that, or is it just about getting the position?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
And doesn't Nyameka owe us a question for the next guest?
She gives us the question outside, so the next guest does not hear
because
because manje sobakopisa, when the
I have to think about that.
Okay, well, brace yourself.
Oh, thank you so much, ladies. This was a great conversation.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun. I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Absolutely.
No, it was great.
Well, if you are following us and you are not subscribed to our channel, please do. And also share this recording with your peers so that we learn together as a community and grow together. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Women's Month.